What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're talking about buying used kayaks. Believe it or not, this is like the perfect time of year to go out and buy them. Chances are, listings are increasing in volume, so there's more and more people listing them, especially early in the year. We're talking late to midwinter through spring. You're gonna see a ton of listings, and you're getting up to the point where you can actually use it, but that's not as important as the fact that people have had these sitting on Marketplace for a long time.
They're 3 months in, and they're like, God, I gotta get this out of here.
Yeah, and you can generally see how long a listing has been up on Marketplace. So if you're looking at it, it says 180 plus days or whatever, there's a good chance you can haggle a little bit more with that. So what we want to cover today are some of the most important things that you should consider when buying a used kayak. Let's get to it. Number one.
You gotta know what it is that you want. So you have to know, because you're gonna have to search with some specificity. You're gonna wanna search for Titan X, or Titan Slayer, or
even year, model, color.
Or you're just Old Town, right? You need to know at least the brand, if not the specific model of kayak that you're looking for. Now, if there's like 3 or 4 of them, you're gonna search for 3 or 4 of them. If you just search used kayak, you're gonna get ocean kayaks and pleasure kayaks, and you're gonna get catamarans and like all this other stuff. So you need to be able to zoom in on exactly what you want, and that means knowing what you want. So that includes pedal, paddle, that includes model number, that includes length, and all that other stuff.
Also on Facebook Marketplace, you can save searches, so you can always just get alerts if new postings go up, and I'd highly recommend that. Number 2, be prepared to widen your search radius. There's a very good chance that the kayak you want will not be at your next door neighbor's house. In fact, it might be 500 miles away. It depends on how far you are willing to travel, but if there's something specific that you're looking for, if you widen the search radius, you might find the perfect kayak versus having to settle because within 50 miles, there isn't one. Right?
And keep in mind too that with fishing kayaks, like there are a lot of models, right? And there's a lot of model years. And even though...
And they vary widely by year.
Yes, and they last a long time. So not a lot of people are selling these. So you gotta consider if you want a Hobie 360 Pro Angler in the blue color from after 2018 with, these accessories, there may only be like 3 of those for sale in the whole country. So you gotta widen your scope a little bit. That may mean paying someone to ship it to you, which is probably not gonna happen. Usually it means driving a really long ways.
Next, know the value of the kayak. What's it actually worth? The Kelly Blue Book that doesn't exist for kayaks. But you can look at comparable searches. You can look for what people are selling that specific kayak as.
Look for the retail that it sells at originally.
The MSRP, does it ever go on sale? Is this more or less than that sale price? I don't care if it comes with accessories, by the way. There is such thing as depreciation. So it could depreciate a bit, but point is, we're looking at what is the value of the base model of that kayak. What's included on top of that, we'll cover in a second, is something to also consider, but is this person asking a reasonable price or an unreasonable price for that? And in their description, have they stated that they are absolutely firm, they're not even gonna consider your offer if you come in below that?
OBO. Or best offer.
Yeah, if they say or best offer or all offers considered, that means you get to haggle. So be prepared to have some fun conversations and maybe get yourself a nice deal. Now we recommend, of course, just as in general, being a good human being, be good.
Well, if you know the kayak's worth $4,000, don't offer one. Just don't do that. Like you need to offer certainly what you can afford, but do not lowball. You're just gonna frankly piss that person off. So
you're not going to get the kayak.
You're not. And they're going to be way more firm on their price if you under offer. So like I'm selling a kayak right now. If someone comes and offers me, I'm offering you a discount. It's like $3,000. If someone comes to me and says, can I get that for $1,500? I'm not even responding.
Nope.
And honestly, if I did and I was like, hey, can you do 3? And they're like, well, I can do, $1,600. Then I'm going to be, I'm not
going to spend the time to go back and forth.
Don't lowball.
All right, next one, very important, and somewhat problematic on Facebook Marketplace because some people are not technically savvy, technologically. Some people...
You're not technically a savvy person. You're technically an idiot.
You're dumb. Some people, like me, how you do it.
Some people are not technologically inclined, so for them, taking a bunch of pictures and they have no empathy, so they have no idea what it means to post something on a place like Facebook Marketplace. So you're not going to get 98 photos of everything that you would want to see.
It's like,
you get one
from this perspective, and it's blurry.
You get one photo from their garden from 2014. Like
they
that's
took
what
it
you're
on
getting.
their iPhone Potato.
Like 17 megapixels with this one. And so it's like,
maybe 2.
You are going to potentially have to ask some clarifying questions. One of those questions could be, hey, can I see some more pictures? Can I see some, this is where damage comes in, because you're looking for damage and you're looking for any modifications that they may have made to the kayak. So I want to see a picture of the bottom. Period, the end. Like that's where I need to see the bottom of the hull, because if it's absolutely scraped and it's just mangled, that's no good. Now there's an amount of damage that's acceptable with like a 4, 3, 5-year-old kayak, whatever it is, that you're gonna have to accept. That's the value you're getting. Someone else used it, they did some sort of wear and tear, and you're gonna have to, that's where the discount is coming from.
You're looking for deep gouges, right? Because
massive gouges.
Anywhere that you have a thinner layer of plastic is a potential for sinking your vessel, right? Eventually that's gonna get worn down even more. It could break through, you now have a hole in your hull. That's a problem, you just bought a lemon, right? So make sure that scrapes and scratches are fine, as long as they're not super deep or they're not thinning out that layer of plastic, then you're in danger.
The most important things you need to look at are where have they made modifications and how good of a job did they do. You need to see the bottom, and you need to see, I think, the rudder and skeg, if they're included. Those are, and then like the very point of the kayak, like the prow, like the very front of the kayak, you want to see, those are the areas where damage is a real problem, and you're going to want to be aware of that. Anywhere else, it's mostly superficial.
And is it something that you could cover up with like a keel guard, for example? You could
some
cure
tape,
that
whatever
problem,
it is,
right? So just ask for clarification pics, maybe even videos. So you could say,
I do videos on mine.
I want to make sure that this thing floats. Show me it floating. Show me you using it.
I want to see pedal drives is where I think this is important. Just even if it's not in the water, you just need to see the pedals moving and the prop rolling accordingly. So that's where I kind of do want to see a video as well.
Now, I want to point out something that's kind of an overarching theme for buying used products on the internet, especially with Facebook Marketplace. Scams are abundant.
Rampant.
There are so many scams out there, it's ridiculous. And you might not even know what some of them are unless you've been selling on Marketplace for a while. So people are not going to be apt to take payments over Zelle or Venmo, because there's a lot of scams going around with that right now. It should be cash only. If they're asking...
Or like cashier's check, you know, upon arrival. Like it's basically COD.
Yeah, like I need something verifiable, not a regular check that could bounce, not a Venmo scammy feeling kind of payment. It's going to be cash generally. So make sure you, I mean, 1, you can get the cash. 2, that's what you should expect from them. And if you sell something, number 3, always say cash only. You're going to save yourself a lot of time, and you're going to avoid a lot of those scams. The other thing to consider with scams is some people are going to be very uncomfortable if you ask to get on the phone with them, because there are scams right now going around, thanks to AI, where I can record your voice and then I can use it later to take over your bank account or something. Okay?
Or order other things, or whatever it happens to be. So
that's your verification via voice.
But you can avoid a lot of this. Facebook Marketplace is one of the better sellers, because you can see the person's Facebook profile and know that they're a real human being, and then they are exposed. So it's really hard to scam somebody when everyone knows who you are. So Facebook Marketplace is one of the better places. Not so great example would be like Craigslist, and then I think one of the best places to buy used is going to be like eBay. So as long as you have the conversations through the eBay app, it's very clean. You have moderation, you have tracking, and eBay as a parent company is taking care of its sellers and its buyers on your behalf. So some of those are better than others, but scams are a problem. Be aware, and just if it feels weird, don't do it. Yeah. Just pay cash. Just if you want to meet somewhere else, which we're going to talk about in a second, meet somewhere else. Don't meet at a house, so that makes you feel uncomfortable. But if it makes you feel weird, just don't do it. Period. The end. Spidey senses tingling. So another portion of this in seeing pictures is asking what's included, because sometimes you'll see the picture of the boat. It'll say, you know, new canoe unlimited. Period. Not new canoe. Not new canoe unlimited with motor, electronics, rod holders, you know, a trailer, and all the other stuff. So you need to ask specifically, explicitly, what is included, and is that included in the price? You need to know the answer to those 2 questions before you do anything further. Next one is kind of a bonus, right? So again, we talked about people might not be cool with doing a video call, voice call, whatever with you, and that's fine. I'm with them, like go with what you're comfortable with and just go with your gut, right? So with that said, an option you could have is like when you sell things on Marketplace, you can say, meet me at this public place. Meet me at the Walmart parking lot.
One thing you can do with kayaks is meet me at a boat ramp. So ask them, is there a local pond or lake that you fish near you, or that you use your kayak if they're not a fisherman near you? Would you be comfortable meeting me at that ramp during, public hours or a time where other people might be at the ramp so they can feel safer? The point is, you're near water. Now what do you get to do? Let's throw that vessel on the water, make sure she floats, make sure she works. Some people will be cool with, yeah, just give me a piece of collateral and I'll let you go out on the kayak, right? I mean, what are you gonna do, sneak it off the other end of the lake?
Shoes are a great piece of collateral.
Shoes, your license, whatever, like something to be like, hey, we're gonna be cool. I'm gonna go test it real quick. I'll bring it back. If you have a motor, you wanna make sure the motor operates. If you've got pedals, you wanna make sure the pedals work.
Listen for like grinding or anything that's off. Look for shaking. And then with any of the accessories, use the accessories that are on the boat, because you wanna make sure that they're installed correctly, that there's not any, again, like excessive shaking or movement where it says like, hey, maybe this wasn't installed correctly. With electronics, test a couple of the applications, make sure it's showing up as it should, and then you're not seeing any sparks fly.
Turn it off and on a whole bunch of times and make sure that it's consistently working, right? That they did a good job with the install.
Another great question is asking how the kayak is stored. So was it in storage? Was it in a garage? Was it outside? Was it stored on like sawhorses, which is a great way to do it? Was it on one of those like elevated like kayak pulley systems? Was it just on the ground? Like those are all things that can really matter. So especially if you're buying like a canoe, canoes, they need to be stored. There's like only 2 or 3 ways to do it really well. And other than that, they are going to warp, because a lot of canoes, they last for a long time. Kayaks can be the same way, especially if you're buying an older model, like a 14, 15 model year kayak, you're gonna wanna make sure that it was stored at least somewhat properly. And they may lie to you, but you gotta ask the question.
Some people will list it in the description, a lot of people won't.
I put like garage kept. Now that's not enough detail, but if someone had more questions, like I'm ready to answer that question. Anyone should be.
Some people will list nothing in descriptions.
Most people will, and they will not give you an answer. Just be ready for that. People suck. And when you're buying something used, you gotta deal with a person. That's not always the best scenario.
Which is great if you widen your search radius, because while this person might be a jerk, maybe a couple 100 miles away, you get a person who's not a jerk.
Correct.
Right? So there you go. You can choose who you buy from as much as you can choose the kayak itself. Now we get into another big point, which really more depends on your state regulations, and especially if it's got a motor on it. So now we're talking about bill of sale and titles. So if you want to transfer ownership and you want to get a title in your state for something that's motorized,
you have to in some states. So some states require, if there's a, I think most require, if there's a motor on
any
your kayak,
motor
any motor at all, any motor, not pedals, but motor, you have to title it. And there has like the, there's an actual like registration number that you have to stick around the side of your boat, and you have to re-up that title and maintain it. If you want to do that, there's a couple of things that you really need to take into consideration. Even if the boat doesn't have a motor now, but maybe you want it later, you need a couple of things. You need either a bill of sale by itself, so if it's never been titled or registered in any state before, you can just get away with a bill of sale. That will allow you to use the VIN number on the kayak to title that boat in your state if it's never been titled before. If it's been titled before, you need the registration from that kayak. You have to get it in order to register it in another state. Now I say that have to. I think you can get away from it using the bill of sale, but really if you're buying something that's been titled, you need the bill of sale and you need a previous registration. So those two things for sure. Bill of sale is the absolute minimum. And like if you're ever going to potentially put a motor on the boat, get the bill of sale. Just do it, you'll feel better. That's all I can say. And I've actually, since I'm selling one, and in a state where someone wanted to buy one, there's a certificate that you can get on like a lot of these kayaks. You won't always get them from the manufacturer, and that certificate, when you first buy it as like the original title, like I lost mine. Like I lost mine like the second day that I got it, and I had never even thought about a motor, so I didn't have it. But after calling around, bill of sale is good enough with the VIN if it's never been registered. And like I said before, if it's been registered, just get the previous title, you're all good. So we said it before, you're dealing with people. So expect that it's not gonna go the exact way that you want it to. People are busy, they have their own lives, so you may not get a response within the same day. They may wanna haggle, they may be firm on their price, they may not be firm at all. Like expect that you're gonna have to deal with people in this scenario. And why would you ever buy a used kayak? Because you're getting a huge break on the price. You're not paying another company margin. And so in that scenario, you gotta do a little more work to get the price break. This is a great way to buy your first kayak, certainly, and if you're looking to upgrade, it's a great way to do it as well. There are other things you could take into account, like trades. I personally don't like it, but if that's you, it's just another part of dealing with people. They're gonna bring up other options. It's just gonna get weird. So be comfortable with that. Think about the advice that we've given you here in this video. As some people who have bought and sold kayaks before, take that advice, and I really hope that you're able to use this to find the exact right kayak for you, get you on the water, and having more fun. Thank you for checking out this video. If you haven't already, like button, nail it. Subscribe button, aggressively smash it. And if you haven't checked us out on our lives, we do a lot of fun stuff. Like we have these brackets where we compare like the best pedal fishing kayaks ever, all down till we find our champion. We do that live 8:15 p.m. Wednesdays. Come and join us there.
Eastern time.
Eastern time.
All right, I think we should walk backwards out of this one. What do you think?
I'm ready.
All right. See you guys next time.